Hi there. Thanks for joining my video. And today I'm going to cook a recipe from Kenji Lopez Alt's book, The Wok. I'm going to cook the first recipe that he's got in there, which is American Chinese style Kung Pao Chicken. And for that, I've got my ingredients laid out here. So from a sauce perspective, we've got both dark and light soy sauce, Shaoxing wine, and sesame oil. And then we've got roasted peanuts, some sugar, some cornstarch, kosher salt, as well as a pound of chicken thighs and green onion, zucchini, 2 slices of ginger, some dried red chili peppers, those are Chinese chilies, garlic, and a red bell pepper. So I'm going to get these things organized and we'll start to do some vegetable chopping. So starting chopping with the zucchini and chopping it into 1/2-inch quarters. And I've cut out the details of the chopping here, but basically everything's being chopped up in sort of 1/2-inch pieces. And then moving on to the chicken thighs. And for those peppers, I've snipped the peppers and dumped out all the seeds from the inside. So those are also in sort of 1/2-inch, 1/4-inch pieces, the dried peppers. So the chicken, cutting that up into 1/2-inch pieces as well. And once it's done, we rinse it under cold water for a bit and in a colander. And you want to be careful when you do that you don't have your water stream on too high because it'll splash chicken water all over the kitchen. So once we've drained that colander, we throw it back into a bowl, add kosher salt, about 1/2 teaspoon, and then start with the sauces. So we'll add about 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, the light. We'll add about 1 teaspoon of the Shaoxing wine. Add some sugar, so about 1/2 teaspoon or so, and 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil, and then about 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. I've eyeballed all of these amounts, but it's a fairly forgiving recipe, so you can measure them if you wish. Then once you've added the cornstarch, just mix it around. I'm using chopsticks here. I've edited this, so I mixed it probably for about a minute, but the key is just getting all that stuff incorporated, and then put it aside. And you want to let it sit for and marinate for about 15 minutes. You can also chop the vegetables at this point, which is what the recipe calls for. I did the vegetables first because I just wanted to use one cutting board. But I think the key is just letting it marinate for 15 minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to make the sauce for the stir fry. So for the sauce, I'm going to use about 1 tablespoon of the light soy sauce this time, and a little bit less of the dark. Dark goes a long way. And we'll add about 1 tablespoon of sugar and 2 teaspoons of the rice vinegar. I actually didn't have the rice vinegar out when I first set this up, so I had to go run for it. In addition, adding 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine and 1 teaspoon of the roasted sesame oil. So here we got that vinegar, so about 2 teaspoons of that. And then we're just going to mix that up and set it aside. There we go, just adding the sugar. And last thing we need to do to prep for this is the cornstarch slurry. So got about 2 teaspoons of cornstarch in this ramekin, and just add a splash of water, just enough to get it mixed up into a slurry. And we'll add that at the end as a thickener to the sauce. We won't need all of this, but it's good to have more mixed up than you need just in case. You never know. So we'll get this set up and now head over to the stovetop. So here we are. First thing we need to do is to preheat the wok. So we'll get the wok nice and hot till it's smoking, and that'll take probably about a minute on this stove. I've edited it, but you can see the smoke coming off of there. And once it's smoking hot, add some oil. I'm using peanut oil here, but any neutral oil will do. That's probably maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons. Give it a swirl. This basically gives you that non-stick coating in the wok. And now we're going to dump in our marinated chicken. So that gives a good sizzle because there's still a fair bit of moisture in there. And the key here, just letting it sort of cook on one side without stirring it, just to get a bit of color. You'll see that the chicken, though, is sliding around pretty well. That's nicely seasoned and non-stick wok. So once that's had a chance to get some color on one side, then I'll go in with the spatula and start stir frying it. I've edited this down, but you want to get it to the point where the meat is pretty much cooked on the inside. It doesn't have to be 100% cooked because it'll continue to cook when we take it off. But it takes about 3 or 4 minutes to get to that point. So here you can see I've done that, and now I'm going to transfer it into a clean bowl. And we'll set that aside. That'll continue cooking. If you had a super high output commercial wok burner, then you wouldn't need to do this. You could do it all at once. But the idea, as Kenji outlines in his book, is basically doing it in batches just because home stoves just don't get hot enough to really keep the temperature high. So here I've just given the wok a quick wipe, turned it on again high, got it smoking again, and now adding some more oil. Now we're going to go in with our aromatics. So we've got the garlic, the ginger, and the dried red chilies. So just basically give that a quick stir. You just want to do it till things start to get some color, but it probably takes maybe a minute, if that, because the wok's pretty hot, and we don't want to burn this stuff. So once we get a little bit of color there, then we'll add in our red bell pepper and our zucchini. And if I would have done this on a cutting board, it would have been easier to probably slide it in, but using my hands here, not the most efficient way to do it. So give that a good stir just till it gets a little bit of color. So here I did it probably for about, again, 2 to 3 minutes. And then add in our roasted peanuts. The peanuts are already roasted, so they're nice and crunchy. And we add in the scallions as well. And we'll just give that a good mix to bring it together. For probably that's about 20 seconds. And next step is to add the chicken back in. So it's had a chance to finish cooking there, and it's going to actually really finish cooking here in this last step of the recipe. So we'll incorporate all of that. Now we'll add in the sauce. Make sure you give it a stir because there's that sugar in the sauce, so it may have precipitated to the bottom of the bowl. So giving it a good stir, and the key here is pouring it along the outside of the wok. That just gives it a chance to sort of caramelize a little bit, gives you a bit extra flavor when you pour it around the outside of the wok. So we'll mix that around. Let it sort of start to boil, and then we're going to add some of the cornstarch slurry. So for this, I'm probably adding about a tablespoon of it. Better off to add too little than too much. You don't want it to turn into glue, but this will thicken almost immediately, and you can tell that it's at the right consistency just when you stir it in the wok and you don't see any liquid pooling at the bottom. It means it's all really clinging to the food. So another about minute or two here, and we are done. I'm ready to plate. So I had the plate ready. This all happens very fast. So you want to have everything ready to roll. And here you go. Kenji Lopez Alt's Chinese American Kung Pao Chicken. I must say it smells delicious, and after eating this, after cooking it, it also tastes delicious. So it was a win. Thank you very much.